Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going back to March 1942 to look at what's widely considered one of the most audacious, seemingly impossible, and honestly suicidal British military missions of the Second World War. Okay, let's dive into this. We're unpacking an operation where the odds of survival were remarkably slim, but the stakes for the entire free world were absolutely incredibly high. To really wrap our heads around the gravity of this event, we have to ask ourselves, what exactly makes a military mission truly suicidal? Like, in modern times, you might think of daring operations using stealth helicopters or maybe high-tech precision missiles. But in 1942, there was absolutely zero stealth involved here. No advanced tech gear to keep anybody safe. As you're going to see, this whole plan relied on literally nothing but raw guts, sheer determination, and a massive ticking time bomb aimed straight at the front door of a heavily defended Nazi naval fortress. To understand why the British military was willing to risk everything on such a desperate gamble, we have to look at this stark contrast. On one side, you've got the ultimate steel monster, the German battleship Tirpitz. Sister ship to the legendary Bismarck, the Tirpitz was this massive, heavily armored threat just lurking in the Norwegian fjords. On the other side, we have the incredibly vulnerable Allied shipping routes, carrying all those vital supplies from the US over to Britain. Think about it. If the Tirpitz was allowed to break out into the open Atlantic, it was fully capable of completely wiping out those supply convoys. It would have effectively starved Britain right out of the war. Section 1. The target, Saint-Nazaire. To stop the Tirpitz from dominating the Atlantic, the Allies desperately needed to destroy the Normandie Dock in Saint-Nazaire, France. It was literally the only dry dock along the entire coast big enough to hold that monster ship. But here is where the sheer, mind-boggling scale of the problem becomes apparent. The Normandie Dock wasn't just sitting out in the open waiting to be attacked. 5,000. That's how many German troops were actively guarding this installation. And it wasn't just manpower either. This dock was located 6 miles inland up the Loire River, and it was protected by dozens of heavy artillery batteries, anti-aircraft guns, and heavily fortified concrete pillboxes. An airstrike just couldn't hit the target with the precision they needed, and a full-scale naval invasion entirely out of the question. Section 2. A flying Trojan horse. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how British intelligence pivoted to a plan that sounds straight out of a Hollywood script. Since they couldn't sneak in and they couldn't bomb it from above, the crazy idea was to just smash right through the front door. To pull off this mad scientist-style idea, the Royal Navy acquired the HMS Campbeltown, which was this entirely obsolete World War I-era American destroyer, and they gave it a radical, deadly makeover. Step 1, the disguise. They chopped down its funnels and completely altered its silhouette so that, from a distance in the pitch dark, it would look exactly like a German MOVE-class destroyer. Step 2 was the weapon itself. They literally packed the ship with depth charges, sealed right behind massive walls of poured concrete. And finally, Step 3 involved loading this floating bomb along with a whole fleet of small wooden motor launches with over 600 Royal Navy sailors and British commandos. Let's focus on that payload for a second, because the scale is staggering. 4.25 tons. That is the amount of delayed action explosives hidden deep inside the bow of this disguised ship. We're talking 24 highly explosive depth charges, carefully concealed behind all that concrete so they couldn't be easily discovered or dismantled. This wasn't just a ship anymore, guys. It was the largest maritime time bomb ever constructed. Section 3. Chaos on the water. The tension here is palpable as the disguised convoy slips into the Loire estuary under the cover of night, using fake German Morse code just to buy themselves a few crucial minutes. But deception can't last forever, right? March 28, 1942, 1:20 a.m. All hell absolutely breaks loose. Blinding searchlights instantly illuminate the river. The disguise is blown. Hundreds of German automatic cannons open fire all at once. Tracer rounds are crisscrossing the air. It's this terrifying, deadly blizzard of crossfire just tearing into the wooden launches and pounding the armored hull of the Campbeltown. And standing right there on the bridge, in the middle of this absolute inferno, is Commander Sam Beatty. Shells are literally shredding the ship around him. The air is incredibly thick with smoke and flying shrapnel, but Commander Beatty, he doesn't flinch. He issues a single, unwavering order: full steam ahead. He steers this blazing, explosive-filled warship straight for the massive steel gates of the dry dock, pushing those old engines to a blistering 20 knots. Boom! The Campbeltown violently smashes into the heavy steel gates at maximum speed. Metal screeches against metal as the immense weight of the ship wedges itself incredibly deep into the structural steel of the dock. The sudden, jarring impact sends men flying, but almost instantly, the surviving commandos swarm out off the burning deck and into the blizzard of enemy fire, rushing to plant their charges on the surrounding pump houses and winding engines. Section 4. The delayed detonation. As morning breaks, the fierce fighting ceases, and smoke slowly drifts over the ruined harbor. For the British, the immediate assault is over. And to the German commanders who are now arriving on the scene to inspect the damage, the entire raid basically appears to be a spectacular, foolish failure. But here's where the ticking clock comes in. By early morning, over 40 senior German officers and engineers are confidently walking right across the deck of the wedged Campbeltown. They're taking photographs, inspecting the damage, maybe even laughing a bit at the audacity of this failed British attack. What they don't know, what they literally couldn't possibly know, is that directly beneath their boots, hidden behind tons of concrete, specialized pencil detonators are slowly, silently dissolving in acid. Then came 10:35 a.m. The acid finally ate through the wire. The detonators triggered. A massive, blinding white flash erupted as the 4-ton bomb detonated with catastrophic force. The blast was unimaginable. It instantly killed over 200 German officers and military personnel who were on or near the ship, and it completely violently obliterated the massive steel dock gates, sweeping the shattered remnants of the destroyer straight into the dry dock. Section 5. The Legacy of Chariot. And this brilliantly illustrates the lasting strategic impact of this unparalleled raid. But before we look at the strategic victory, it is absolutely essential to acknowledge the severe human cost of Operation Chariot. Out of the 611 brave Royal Navy sailors and British commandos who launched the raid, only 228 survived and made it back to England. A staggering 383 men were either killed in the fierce crossfire or captured by German forces in the aftermath. The sacrifice made by these men was truly immense. Yet from a strategic standpoint, the mission was an overwhelming success. The Normandie Dock was completely knocked out of commission for the remainder of World War II. Because that safe haven was destroyed, the dreaded Tirpitz never dared to enter the open ocean. This ultimately saved thousands of Allied ships and countless lives from destruction. And to recognize the incredible, almost unfathomable bravery required to execute this plan, 16 Victoria Crosses were awarded to the men involved. That officially made Operation Chariot the most highly decorated single action in British military history. The sheer audacity to pack an obsolete ship with explosives and just ram it into a fortified base is something that still completely defies belief today. It's a true testament to human courage and strategic ingenuity in the darkest of times. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. After learning about the incredible story of the Saint-Nazaire raid, what is the most insane military operation you've ever heard of? Keep exploring history, keep asking questions, and I hope this deep dive has given you a newfound appreciation for the greatest raid of all.